go ahead and get started. We do not have any speakers prior to our meeting, so the Pine Bluff City Council meeting of August the 4th, 2014 is hereby called to order. May we have roll call, please?
Alderman Brummett.
Here.
Alderman Easterly.
Here.
Alderman Steph.
Here.
Alderman Walker. Alderman Boyd.
Here.
Alderman Brown.
Here.
Alderman May.
Here.
Alderman Hope.
Here.
Thank you. Each of you have a copy of the minutes from July the 21st. It's been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor of the minutes being approved from July the 21st, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to committee reports. Ways and Means, Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor. The Ways and Means Committee met prior to the meeting. We have two budget adjustments that were in the packet. The first one is revenue from Energy Rebate for new energy efficient chiller units budgeted to building maintenance for the Civic Center repairs. The total amount is $17,655. I'd like to move that we accept this budget adjustment from the Maintenance Department.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $17,655 be approved. Floor is now open for discussion.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to bring everybody's attention that I know you can tell it's cool in here and it's nice, and the chillers are doing an excellent job. The bill for the first month when the new chillers were installed was over $2,000 less than it was the prior year. So it's doing its job. It's an excellent investment that the council made for the city.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, we have a budget adjustment as we had a review of the budget of the city, a quarterly review, and we found some areas that were not going to be funded as well as we had hoped based on the budget we had put together. The two main areas were the courts, because of crime is literally down, therefore fines and fees collection is down. And the other one is in the collector's office. I think that we really had been a little bit too optimistic about collection of fees in that office, and so those two together, it came out to about $250,000 that we needed to find within the budget to make sure that we balance the budget between now and the end of the year. There's a detail of where that money will go and where it will come from included in this budget adjustment. The total amount, as I said, is $251,500 in the general fund, $77,601 will come out of the street fund, $103,000 will be utilized from the emergency vehicle fund. I move we accept this budget adjustment from the Finance Department.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that a budget adjustment in the amount of $251,500 be approved. Floor is now open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, I move that the bills that the city owes be paid.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the bills for the city be paid. Floor is now open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Does that conclude?
That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ordinance and Resolutions, Alderman Brummett.
Yes, Mayor. The Ordinance and Resolutions Committee met prior to the meeting. Item number 1 is an ordinance that will be read for the third and final reading. 2 through 5 are resolutions that will be read and voted on by the council. That concludes that report.
Thank you, sir. Economic and Community Development, Alderwoman Walker.
No report.
Thank you. Public Health and Welfare, Alderman Holcomb.
Mayor, Public Health and Welfare met on last Thursday, July 31st at 10 a.m. We discussed strategy of commercial building strategy in conjunction with the buildings on downtown, and also we discussed the code ordinance of chapter 24, the streets and sidewalks, on that subject matter. That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Public Works, Alderman Mays.
We had a meeting, thank you, Mayor. We had a meeting on 7/29, Public Works, and we discussed the city boundaries, getting them updated in order to recognize a real update on our city boundaries. We also discussed the 71602 zip code profile, and we found out that there's more issues than what we thought. You got the boundaries, you got the census population, you got taxes, and you got the zip code. And I was talking with Mr. Miller a while ago, and he was telling me that the boundaries do have effect on the franchise fees on the utility bills. If they're not in order, that could mess up some money that's going out. So my Alderman Steps is focusing on the taxes. We kind of broke it down. Alderman Walker's broken down on the zip code, and I'm working on the boundaries. It's a very important issue because the city of Whitehall is homesteading inside of Pine Bluff, and we don't want them to wake up and annex a big part of our city and where our population would drop. And that's why we're kind of looking at that now. And I'm through with my report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Development and Planning, Alderman Boyd.
No report, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Traffic and Aviation, Alderman Brown.
Thank you. On last Thursday, Traffic and Aviation did meet with all members present. We discussed various places in Pineville for parking.
See what we discussed in the meeting.
Children of place signs to be either replaced or denied. Mr. Reynolds is not here today, so I'm supposing this will be before us on the next city council meeting. But we did discuss it. That completes that part of my committee, but however, I would like to say that we have ordinances and resolutions that are on our books here in Pineville that are not being enforced. Seriously, we have sit here and passed ordinances and resolutions this year that are not being conducted into the city's plan. So I don't know what we need to do. Do we need to directly get a group that says we're going to watch you do the ordinances and resolutions or what? I don't know. Because we don't have any teeth in the fact that they're not being carried out, so I don't know what to do. But, you know, every week I discuss and I talk about what's happening in Pine Bluff. And I'm just looking around and I watch people. And I think the majority of the big businessmen have just totally given up on Pine Bluff. They're not trying to find anything new. They're investing in other areas. So I'm asking people, what do we want to do? When the businessmen that want to invest in Pine Bluff, when a business still got a business, it's gone. There's nobody that's trying to sell a business to anybody. That's gone. What are we going to do? I mean, this is something that we can see, that we need to, you know, take the time and try to work out and figure out what to do about it. I think we got people in place just waiting on retirement, just waiting to get their retirement check and leave Pine Bluff, Hot Springs, or Northern Arkansas, or wherever the case may be. And if this big shoe or little shoe fits you, then I guess you're guilty. Because that's what's happening in Pine Bluff. We don't have people that really love Pine Bluff. I mean, we're going to have to do something because we're going to lose tax revenue, we're not growing, period. And I just don't understand, what do we do? I'm asking you to tell us, what do we do? We don't get complete, it's like we're not even a city that, we don't even do this. We don't get the attention on that, the state highway or wherever. We don't get that. We only get attention from the state of Arkansas when it's election year. In Pine Bluff right now, if you was in the center of Pine Bluff right now, you do know how to get to 530 because nobody marks 530 nowhere in Pine Bluff. You don't see 530 till you get to 530 in Pine Bluff. If you're in another city, you can see 630, 530, one intersection, or you'll see I-30 or wherever, I-20. In Pine Bluff, we're not important. We're important. We miss everything. You can ride out on most of the highways out in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and you can't even see the white line when it's raining. It's ridiculous how we don't hold the people that's in charge of our city and county responsible for the things that we need. We're not going to get anything. We're going to be sitting right here in 10 years, and we'll be far less than we have right now. So my feelings are not selfish. My feelings are for Pine Bluff, Arkansas in the future. And I'm just trying to figure out What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do instead of we sit around and we think that somebody make a boss move or somebody make a big play and that's the thing to do? We're done. We need something. We need a booster. And I've always said, sometimes everybody say we need jobs. Of course, we got people out there supposed to bring us jobs. They're not doing that. We need to hold those people accountable. They're making money to do this. We're sitting here thinking, see, the council supposed to bring it. We don't have the money to bring jobs. We don't have the interest or the connection to bring jobs. But we do pay people, or we do have people in place for that to happen. These are the people we need to get in touch with. We're just sitting and thinking it's gonna be okay, but it's not. They were talking about us on the internet. I'm so upset. One of those big major newspapers in the country, New York or something, saying that we're just, it's like turning lava the wrong way. You know, lava shoots out, we're going by, we're going under. So, people, I'm asking y'all, what do we do? I'm saying help us to hold the people that's responsible to do what they're supposed to do for Pineville, Arkansas. And I've always said, do things backwards sometimes. We have to bring something in that will make somebody want to live here. Everybody keeps saying we need jobs first. I count a lot of jobs, but maybe we do need more. Okay, I go with that. But you need to bring something here that will make people want to come here and visit or live. If you have nothing, you will get nothing. Thank you all very much.
Administration, Alderman Steps.
Mayor, we met, but one of the items that we had on the agenda had already been discussed, and that was the resolution adopting the revised job description for the position of assistant to the mayor. Other than that, I don't have a report.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety, Alderman Easterly.
No report, Mayor, but we'll have a quarterly meeting, not next time, but, and it won't be the first Monday, because I'm believing that y'all won't be here. And that's September 1.
Oh, yeah.
Tuesday, right?
I was afraid of that, so.
Tuesday?
So on Tuesday, we'll have it on the first Tuesday of September, which will be September 2nd.
Okay.
Be a quarterly meeting of the Public Safety Committee.
All right.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. On to ordinances and resolutions. Alderman Brummett.
Mayor, before I start, I meant to, in the Ways and Means Committee, report to, we all get a copy of the sales tax report. The month of July, 2014 compared to 2013 was up 6%. That's awesome. Year to date, we're ahead only a couple of percent, but in the economy we're living in today, that's pretty amazing. Okay, we have an ordinance requiring that all meetings or conferences concerning construction and renovation projects or city facilities shall include the mayor, members of the city council, the finance director, and the project managers, and that no funds be expended for any project unless previously appropriated or authorized by the city council, and declaring an emergency. Up for the third and final reading.
An ordinance requiring that all meetings or conferences concerning construction and renovation projects of city facilities shall include the mayor, members of the city council, the finance director, and the project managers, and that no funds be expended for any project unless previously appropriated or authorized by the city council, and declaring an emergency.
Move for adoption.
It's been properly moved and second that an ordinance requiring that all meetings or conferences concerning construction and renovation projects of city facilities shall include the mayor, members of the city council, the finance director, and the project managers, and that no funds be expended for any project unless previously appropriated or authorized by the city council, and declaring an emergency. Floor is now open for discussion. Yes, sir.
Mayor, I'd just like to thank you and your staff for sending out the emails, giving us updates on all these meetings. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We, on every meeting that we have in the chambers, we take minutes, and those minutes are distributed to every city council member.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment that, yes, they may be distributed after the fact because I myself have read in the paper, a decision has been made where I was called to ask about a decision that was made, like the animal shelter, or what was going to be cut out so that we could improve the animal shelter. And people were saying, well, didn't we have $1 million for the animal shelter? So what are they cutting out? And I hadn't read the paper, so I didn't even know what they were talking about. So I think that it is important that the city council be in on the front end of these meetings, so that because we need to vote on the projects that are being made, and so that we can properly answer to citizens when they stop us on the street and ask us, well, where's the multipurpose center? Where is it going? How's the splash park? And you don't know any of these things because you have not been told. And it's our duty to know these things of how the money is being spent and when it's being spent.
Most of the time in the minutes, I will say, with the meetings that we conduct, 3/4 of the time, we set a future date in the minutes, and it's reflected in those minutes. So they're open meetings, anybody can attend. So any more comments?
Well, there's not any money that can be expended that we hadn't already voted on, so, I mean, there's not anything that, really, this doesn't, I mean, we don't need legislation saying that everybody has to be there, because this says every member shall be at every meeting, and a lot of times they don't make the meetings we have now. And if anybody's welcome to attend any of the meetings at any time, I mean, there's not anything that stops them from, so that, if those notifications go out, but there's no reason to tell everybody that they've got to be at meetings when everybody's got full-time jobs, and they can't be at all the meetings that take place during the daytime for when it's project managers and stuff and going over details. When we've already either approved the money that's going to be spent, or if they're going to spend any more, they have to come back and get it through us anyway.
It doesn't say all members of the city council. If you choose not to come, then you don't have to come. But the ones that want to come should know that the meeting is being held. And if it's not going to hurt anything, I don't know what the problem is.
Alderman Steps?
I agree in part with what Alderman Easterly said, but however, that was a situation that occurred, and Alderman Brummer, you were there present, when they were talking about the spending the money on the fire truck. And there was a statement that was made, we've already ordered it. And we were like, okay, then if you've already ordered an expensive fire truck, that means that it had to be paid for. And I don't know if that was the correct statement or not, but you even alluded to the fact that you mean that we've already ordered this fire truck. And that was a budget adjustment for the fire department. And the Chief Howell didn't know anything about that meeting that we were having, and we were discussing some items that pertained to the fire department. I think that if we're going to have those type of budget adjustments, and we're talking about some purchases for anything with the fire department, at least the fire chief should have been notified whether or not he wanted to be in attendance or not. But he was trying to call around to try to garner the support for something that he was not invited to the meeting concerning that issue. And I think those are the things there that I think that not so much that you want to guarantee that everybody come to a meeting, because you can't make nobody go to a meeting, but I think that we ought to be aware of those issues concerning these departments, whether we make the meeting or not. I think we need to be informed on some of these things, and along with the department heads.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Walker, do you want to change the language instead of saying shall in section 2 to say should or may, or you want it to say shall, which makes it mandatory for everybody to?
Well, it's written, it's mandatory.
Section 2 says that all members of the council, the mayor, the finance director, and project manager shall attend each meeting or conference specified in section 1. That says that everybody has to attend every meeting. That's what it said. When you put shall in legislation, there's no ands, ifs, and buts about it.
We will take out shall, let me see, concerning.
Section 2 needs to be removed, period.
It says requiring that all members concerning construction, renovation, property, shall, attend. They shall be notified. I can go with that. If you don't want to.
That's in section
The first section
1.
says,
Beg your pardon?
the first section talks about the notification. Section 1 of this ordinance talks about the notification
Right,
already.
okay.
You want to just delete section 2? Or we can change that shall to should,
Let me see.
or may.
There's no reason for
Okay,
section 2. If everybody's notified, they know they.
Yeah, well, we can say may.
Take it out.
Okay, do we have a recommendation or amendment, or what are we doing here?
It didn't have to be amended, we just change it to may.
Okay. So you're making note that it's been changed to may in section 2?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, let's have roll call, please.
Alderman Brumman,
No.
Alderman Easterly,
No.
Alderman Steph,
Yes.
Alderwoman Walker,
Yes.
Alderman Boyd.
Yes.
Alderman Brown,
Yes.
Alderman Mays. Alderman Hope.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
We have a resolution adopting a revised job description for the position of Assistant to the Mayor.
Whereas it is desired to adopt a revised job description for the position of Assistant to the Mayor in order to more accurately reflect the responsibilities and expectations of the position. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the attached job description for the position of Assistant to the Mayor is hereby adopted and approved, and the document incorporated herein as if fully set forth.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution adopting a revised job description for the position of Assistant to the Mayor be approved. Floor is now open for discussion.
Mayor, I have some concerns. When it came before the committee before, and I asked you a question concerning what was the reasons for the job description change, and I specifically wanted to know behind this job description, was it so that you were going to request an increase in pay? And at that time, you told me that it would be. And here's my concerns. You know, we talk about rehashing some things that we have dealt with. Now, back in October, during our budget hearings, this came about the job description and an increase in pay. And the thing that concerns me more than anything is that if we change and start to change in job description to fit the things that the people are doing, how many other people in the city or how many more department heads are we going to request that a job description be changed on some of the people that's in their departments? And I think that with us doing this, I think it's going to create a bigger burden for us than it is going to help. And some of us said, well, it just reflects what she's doing. Well, with all of these different changes and things here, you know, I don't want to sound like that I'm trying to be funny or anything, but if the assistant is going to do all of these things here, then look like that you're overriding some of the things that the mayor ought to be doing. And you know, I'm saying that because it's a concern that I have when I started looking at this kind of change. And the thing that concerns me more than anything, that what are the other departments are gonna do, what are the other personnel is gonna do if we set up and change their job description in order to reflect what one does. I'm sure that if you do a desk audit on any of these, on any other person, they could come up with some things that we're doing, because I take teachers to the bathroom and this kind of stuff. But that's just an example of what could happen when we change a job description for the purpose of getting a promotion or raise. And I have a concern with it. Not the person, but the job description itself.
Okay, I think that whenever we were having this discussion, Alderman Steps, I said that the primary reason this job description was changed is because it does not reflect the job as it is carried out now. I can't speak to the past, but I know what's going on now. And when you look at the past performance and compare it to what we've changed to now, it's daylight and dark. Then you asked me, do you expect a salary adjustment later on? And I said, if we can do it, yes. If the budget will allow it, yes. I did say that, but that was not the primary, that was not the driving reason to do it. It was to get the position upgraded and brought up to the level in which she is performing now.
I guess,
Because in the past, the job description was like a secretary to position. An assistant to the mayor is not a secretary to position. It's the same type of position as you would have an assistant to the fire chief or an assistant to the police chief. It is a functioning position that does have a lot of requirements and recommendations to it. And the past job description did not reflect that.
the qualifications for a assistant to the police chief and the fire chief is nowhere in comparison to what we have here as an assistant, because you're telling me that what she is compared to is what you do, and you're an elected official. There's no way that that could be the same thing, Mayor.
Okay.
Because if you got an assistant fire chief, that means that when he leaves, that assistant fire chief can carry on those duties and things that has been assigned to the chief of police or chief of the fire department. But there's no way that when you leave, that she can make the decision that you make as a mayor and you're an elected official, because as I understand it, when you are gone, then the senior alderman is the person that's in charge. So there's no way you can make those comparisons as far as I see it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Quickly, I've had some of the privileges to go into your office, and I've seen, and I may be looking at substitute, but I've seen 3 or 4 nice-looking young ladies that work inside your office. So I'm trying to figure out how much more can the assistant, as you call her, needs to be doing other than what she's doing and what our prior assistant to the mayors have been doing. I could be wrong, but I saw 3 people at least. It could be a substitute here, one way or the other. But we all are in this economy together. And I think Alderman Steph made a very good statement about every position, every assistant position, and sometimes regular full position can say, I do this and I deserve to be paid this, or I deserve to be called this, or that increases my salary. But, and again, I said that we all are in this economy together, so we all want a raise. It is definitely not fair to the rest of the city employees and their assistants to give raises or to raise salaries and don't do it to all. We voted here as the city council when the last mayor, and I was a Carl Williams man, when the mayor wanted to give a 3% raise, and we voted against him and gave every employee the same amount of money. We believe that we ought to take care of our employees. And we don't do favors for one and not for others. We do what is right, and that's what I believe in. So we all have to pay $3.30 for gasoline. We all want to raise. We're just not going to pick on 1 or 2 people to raise.
comments?
Yes, Mayor. This question is directed to Mayor Hollingworth. Is this just for the description and not the raise?
Yes, sir. Just the description,
Just the description?
no monies.
Now, I will say that I communicate with Evelyn, Ms. Horton, I'm just being honest, quite a bit, and if I run into a roadblock with getting stuff done, I can call her and she'll get the roadblock out the way. We make a lot of things happen, and I'll say that out of respect. I can call on the weekend, or something happen. A lot of things be happening all the time, honestly. And some of this stuff, I just want somebody to just hear it, you know, and I'm just saying. But once again, I understand.
Alderman Brown.
I mean, Mayor, one thing about it is back to the original question, is this just for the description or for a raise?
Alderman Brown, would you please stop? Please.
Mayor, I'm not out of order.
Yes, you are, because
You're picking on
he
small
is
things.
speaking.
I was not
Don't be
doing
tapping
anything
it while
disruptive.
he's speaking.
I was not doing anything disruptive.
Please do not do that anymore.
Mayor, I will.
Please.
I will. If I so desire to do it, I will, because I was not doing anything wrong. Please try not to boss me. Please, Mayor, we can get along if you be mayor and I be alderman. But please don't.
I have the floor.
No,
Please
I have the
do
floor
not
also.
do that
I have the
anymore.
floor also.
No, sir, you do
Okay,
not.
okay.
No, sir. Alderman Mays has the floor. You
Mayor,
will not tap
Mayor,
the paper.
I am grown. Do not boss me. I'm going to tell you that again. You've already heard this. Do not try to boss me. Okay? That's not going to happen with me.
I did have the floor.
I wasn't saying anything.
Excuse me.
Please.
I got you. Let me.
Okay. We're going to continue with this, or I'll ask for a motion to dismiss.
But you can
What you
ask
wanna
for
do?
it.
That's
but we
what I
can do
said.
what you
I
want.
would
We can
ask-
vote to
I
do
would
Do
it.
what
ask-
you have to do, Mayor.
I
Do
would
what you
ask,
have to do. You were wrong last time, you're going to be wrong this time. So do what you have to do.
I will ask.
May I finish?
Yes, sir,
May I
please.
finish?
Yes.
I have no further discussion in this matter.
Why are you talking?
Any other comments?
Mayor, on number 13, it says facilitate communication between the citizen and elected staff. And I don't know what elected staff is. And, you know, all of these duties are put on to Mrs. Horton of meeting with all the department heads. She will be going from the time she hit the door to the time she leave, or they carry her out. And it seems that she is doing a lot of work that really she is not supposed to be doing, because all of the department heads have been here for some years. And I think that they more or less know what their duties are. And if there are issues that you have a problem with, then I think that you should call them in and talk to them, not Mrs. Horton. Mrs. Horton is not their boss. You know, she's just, you know, all over the place with the department heads and that type of thing, but you're over the department head, so that's not something she really needs to be doing.
Any other comments? Yes, sir?
And I certainly would like to piggyback off of what Alderwoman Walker has just said, because I do have a person that works for the street department that have come to me and told me that Ms. Horton have chastised them in something that there's nowhere in the world that she's supposed to be able to chastise them with. Now, this, Alderman Steph said something, this is perfectly not against the person, but it's the things that's been going on. She does not have the right to do
This is
that.
not right.
We elected, the people elected you as mayor.
Mayor,
There are some things
can Evelyn say something for herself?
No, we're going
Her name should not even be mentioned. Don't even mention her name. This is just the position.
Let's go ahead, and I'm going to call for a vote.
I had the floor last, thank you. What I was trying to show Alderman Mays, or say to Alderman Mays, they say it's not having anything to do with money, but then why do we have 29, 36, and 44,000 on the top of this paper? Did you not get one of these? This means something when you pass this resolution. this resolution means money changing, I'm telling you right now, and it's not fair to the other employees if you just pick on one and two. This is not fair. We can do what we want to do at this table, but if we do that, we're not being fair to our other employees, and I just would be ashamed to be an alderman if I did so.
It does not have any money figures on the
It's
one
not on mine.
attached to the deal.
That's not on mine.
That's not,
That-
what we're approving is a new one.
Alderman Walker requested this to be handed out.
I did.
I didn't
And
know.
the reason why we did this is because it's only the job description that is being voted on.
Well, I don't see a pay on this
That
one.
was not attached.
It's not.
You can have this one, you can have this.
It's not.
Alderman Easterly made the statement that it was the same as the old one, except from everything after 7 was the new portion, and everything else was the same as the old. Well, the old job description had the salary on it. This one, you would not vote for a job description that doesn't have a salary.
Well, I don't see a salary on mine. That's
I'm
what
giving you one.
okay.
Okay, sorry about that,
You
Alderman
can
Brown,
come
but it's
get
not, if you want to look at it, it's not on here.
You can come get this one.
Would you pass it? May I get that?
That's what it's presently on the.
But any job
Yeah,
description,
yeah.
you got to have a salary associated
See,
with it.
it's not on my paper.
Voting on
I
anything
can
on
honestly,
We're giving you one.
I can honestly say that because I read over before I got it.
Anything on salary.
But the question, here's the question,
Okay, let's
Ma'am.
talk, wait just a moment. Alderman Mays has the floor,
Okay.
so let's let him finish, and then we'll continue on.
Well,
Okay.
now I see what you was pointing to. I didn't have it in my paper. I just have copies of that, agenda item number 2, and I read it over, a couple of days ago, and that's why I asked the question to Mayor Hollingworth, was it a difference between the description and the pay, because I didn't see the pay on here. That's why I was looking at the description.
Changing the pay.
Okay, Alderman Steps?
Alderman Walker stated that the only difference was supposed to have been starting from 8 through 15. What job description would one put out there and you don't have a salary associated with it? Which one? See, that's the thing that I'm talking about. Don't give me partial stuff. Why should I have a job description before me that I'm going to vote on, and it doesn't have a salary that's associated with it? Now, this one here had the salary that's associated with it, and supposedly the only thing that changed was starting on line 8 of the job description. But every job description you have out there, you got to have a salary that's associated with it. And when we don't, it seems like we just putting something out there, and then we voting on something in the blind, and we'll come back later and attach it to that. There ought to be a salary range in this position, even if you're going to change your position. It ought to.
Okay, we could have put that on there because there was no change in the range. It was the same range that's been, but it could have been put on there. There was no change. It's the same range that has been. We just changed the duties, requested that the duties, more duties. We expanded the scope of the duties, but the range was the same range that's been there for, ever since you had the consultant.
But what I'm saying, no, Mayor, that should have been in the handout.
Okay, that's fine.
That should have been here.
All right.
Mayor, may I say one last thing?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, if it's that much problem of communicating with the, I guess, the alderman, because we're included as well, that she would have to talk to us instead of talking to you, and the department heads and all this, you know, maybe it would benefit the city if we had a city manager and to work with you instead of an assistant to the mayor. Like Little Rock does, maybe, you know, that would enhance our improvement of the city, and they would be well qualified to help move this city forward, as Alderman Brown had said.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yes, ma'am, one more thing. Alderman Brown, I apologize because I didn't see what you were showing me, and I didn't have it on my paper. I just want you to know that, just for the record.
It wasn't your fault.
Okay, because I didn't know.
Okay, any other comments? Roll call, please.
Alderman Brummer,
Aye.
Alderman Easterly, Alderman Stepps,
No.
Alderwoman Walker,
No.
Alderman Boyd, Alderman Brown,
No.
Alderman Mays,
It's just a description. Aye.
Alderman Hope.
I have a question. Because I deal with this in my church also. When you have a job description, a salary goes along with it.
And the salary has not been changed. It is on this one. The salary has not been changed. The salary has
The
not.
range
it
will
would-
stay the same.
The range stays the same. The range would have to be voted on by the council.
But it was not on there until I asked for it. But we were being told that everything was the same as the old one.
Okay, we're in the middle of a vote, but Ms. Conaway, can you come forward, please?
The salary range that is on there is the same. Originally, it was not on there because we were just voting on the job description. Not, the salary was not changing. So in order to put it on there, I just put it back on there. Nothing's changed. It's from the 2008 salary survey.
No, I wasn't dealing with you. It wasn't your fault. But Alderman Easterly had told me the last time, he says everything, he was showing me, everything is the same. And that one had a salary on it. And he said everything is the same except from number 7, then that's where the changes start. But when we get the one today that we was going to vote on, it had no salary. And when I got my package, I called you. So it wasn't your fault.
Mayor, we're illegally talking at any rate, but
Let him finish. Let him, Alderman Hope finish.
I'm going to vote no.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Conaway. Okay, motion fails.
Okay, we have a resolution authorizing execution
Oh,
of a
excuse me, Brummer.
contract.
Before we go any further? Yes, emergency clause on number 1.
Number 1.
There's an emergency clause on number 1.
Okay,
So we
somebody,
need to vote on the
somebody make a
ordinance.
motion to,
I called for the emergency clause on number 1.
Second.
A motion has been made to invoke the emergency clause regarding ordinance number 1. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Brummer,
no,
Alderman Easterly, Alderman Stepps,
Yes.
Alderwoman Walker,
Yes.
Alderman Boyd, Alderman Brown, Alderman Mays,
Aye.
Alderman Hope.
Okay, motion carries.
thank you. We have a resolution authorizing execution of a contract with 1911 Construction Company Incorporated for work on the Pitts Drain renovation project, authorizing payment to McClellan Consulting Engineers for services on the project and appropriating funds to pay for the work.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Oh, we got to read it. You got to read it. Well, you should have said something, fella. Oh.
You didn't give her a chance.
Whereas after solicitation for and receipt of bids pertaining to the work on the Pitts Drain renovation project, the opening of bids on June 10, 2014 revealed that the firm of 1911 Construction Company Incorporated of Pine Bluff, Arkansas submitted the lowest, most responsible bid for the job. And whereas it is desired to execute an agreement with 1911 Construction Company Incorporated to perform the work for the consideration in the bid and on the terms consistent with the bid, specifications, and standard in the field for the project. And whereas there is a need for consulting engineering services to be provided by McClellan Consulting Engineers who have been involved with and are familiar with the project. And whereas Arkansas Economic Development Commission has awarded a grant in the amount of $868,410 for the project. And whereas the remaining cost of the project is available in the Drainage Bond Reserve account. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, the mayor is authorized to execute an agreement with 1911 Construction Company Incorporated of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to perform work relating to the Pitts Drain renovation project for the consideration set forth in its bid of $904,463.95, and on the terms set forth in the bid specifications and otherwise standard work of the same nature in the field. The city clerk shall attest the mayor's signature if needed. Section 2, there is hereby authorized or appropriated the sum of $935,785.95 for the work needed on the project, allocated as follows. The sum of $904,463.95 for work to be done by 1911 Construction Company Incorporated, and the sum of $31,322 for engineering services by McClellan Consulting Engineers. The sums are sourced from the grant of $868,410 from the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, and the amount of $67,375.95 from the Drainage Bond Reserves account.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing execution of a contract with 1911 Construction Company Incorporated for work on the Pitts Drain renovation project, authorizing payment to McClellan Consulting Engineers for services on the project and appropriating funds to pay for the work. The floor is now open for discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, is this money to be transferred to 1911 Construction Company,
To be transferred.
to them? Are we transferring this amount of money?
No, as the project proceeds, they will supply the city with invoices, and those invoices will be paid, but not the total amount. Mr. Matthews, would you like
That's
to?
the way it's- I didn't see how I was reading.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
We received a grant from the state. Sorry, I don't have my exact numbers in front of me, but the grant came from the Arkansas Economic Commission, and it was developed through Southeast Arkansas Economic Development. They will be the one administering the project. There is about $17,000 that the state set aside for them to administer the project. What will happen, anytime there's a pay request coming, they will administer the pay request. They will present it to the city for inspection and approval. We will approve it. They will then send it to the state for payment. The payment will be transferred into a special account that Steve has already set up to pay the contractor. So there are some extra steps that typically we wouldn't go through, since Southeast Arkansas is administering the project. They're kind of overseeing it, and there was a special set of money set aside when the grant approved for them to process it, but they will go through us for final approval on any pay requests. So the money for each payment will be transferred from the state to a special account that Steve already has set up for approval.
Okay, that sounds good, but this is not what it says. Read section 2 and tell me. I'm not arguing with you, but you know, I know you had a little vacation, so you didn't see what they had put together. But it says that it authorized.
It authorized appropriation for the project.
Yeah, appropriation usually means that you get.
Ms. Walker.
That means it will be permitted to the 935. That is his bid amount. But it will go through the process each time the bid request will come.
Okay. Well,
Ms. Walker, the only money coming from the city is going to be the $67,000. That's the only money from the city. The only money from the city will be the $67,375.
I understand that, yeah, but it also says that hereby authorize or appropriate the sum of $935,785.95 for the work needed on the project. So that means that you get the money before, when it says, that's what I was reading, that you could get the money before. Is that what it says to you in section 2? Because it seems that the city is signing off on it, so I'm just asking.
Well, it would appear they could, I would think they would have to submit an invoice, but it does say the sum authorized or appropriated by the sum for the work needed on the project allocated as follow. I think that they would still have to submit an invoice first, Ms. Walker, based on the reading of this.
But, I think, I think it needs to be said in there if that's the way it's to be done. Because it says that we are authorizing or appropriating the sum of $935, almost $1 million,
Well,
for the work needed on the project.
But it says for work to be done, which would indicate that the work would have to be done prior to any monies to be allocated. On line 35.
It said, for the work, yeah, that's the line that I'm reading. It said for the work to be done by 1911 Construction Company. But it doesn't say anything about invoices or anything like that. And granted, that it's not, it is a grant, it is grant money, but we are signing off on it from what I'm seeing before anything is done. I think it needs to be clarified.
Well, I guess
The state,
just asking.
okay. The states require that the council appropriate the money to the project. In essence, they will control it, but we have to send this ordinance or resolution to the state stating that the city has approved or appropriated the set-aside money because the grant came to the city. So it's actually the city money, but before we can sign the contract, it has to be appropriated by ordinance or by resolution so we can send it to the state.
Okay. And I could, what you just said, I could go with that when it said appropriate to set aside money. But when you say appropriate something to you, well, then you assume that it means to give it to you. And so that's where I'm going with that, if you,
I think now it has been clarified with the fact that this resolution has to go back to the state, showing that this is what the city has done, has allocated, has approved of this allocation, and now they can move forward with the steps in the process that they need to take in order for us to do
Right.
what we need to do.
Right.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
no opposition, but it was just for the record.
Motion carries.
Okay, we have a resolution appointing Donald Lee, AG Senior, to the Pine Bluff Crime Commission.
Whereas a vacancy exists on the Pine Bluff Crime Commission, and whereas, per city ordinance, each member of the council and the mayor may appoint a member of the commission, and whereas Alderman Lloyd Holcomb Jr. previously appointed Eddie L. Harris Jr. to fill the vacancy, which was confirmed by the council in resolution number 3722, and whereas Mr. Harris has moved from Pine Bluff and is unable to serve, and whereas Alderman Holcomb has elected to appoint Donald Lee, AG Sr. to fill the vacancy created by the departure of Mr. Harris. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the mayor's appointment of Donald Lee, AG Sr. to the Pine Bluff Crime Commission to serve a term to expire June 1st, 2019 is hereby approved and confirmed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution appointing Donald Lee, AG Sr. to the Pine Bluff Crime Commission. Floor is now open for discussion. Yes, sir.
You can see Pastor Donald A.J., he's the pastor of New Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church, and you can see part of his resume on the back of this resolution. Pastor Eddie Harris moved out of town on last month, and Pastor A.G. is going to resume his position on the Crime Commission, and he comes highly recommended to fill this position.
I think we all agree on this.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, we have a resolution requesting the United States Postal Service restrict the use of 71602 zip code to residents of Pine Bluff, concentrate mail service for the 71602 zip code area from the main post office in downtown Pine Bluff, provide Whitehall, Arkansas with a different zip code designation and for related purposes.
Whereas due to the confusion caused by sharing the 71602 zip code between the northwest and western areas of Pine Bluff and the city of Whitehall, a change in the zip code area coverage would be in the interest of both cities. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1. The Pine Bluff City Council requests the United States Postal Service to take immediate action to restrict the use of the 71602 zip code designation to residents of Pine Bluff and to allot to the City of Whitehall a new zip code designation. Section 2. The Pine Bluff City Council further requests that the United States Postal Service take immediate action to concentrate mail distribution for the 71602 zip code in the main post office located at 100 East 8th Avenue in Pine Bluff, and to concentrate mail distribution in the Whitehall post office on Dalloway Road for a new zip code designation for the city of Whitehall.
Move for adoption.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that a resolution requesting the United States Postal Service restrict the use of the 71602 zip code to the residents of Pine Bluff, concentrate mail service for the 71602 zip code area from the main post office in downtown Pine Bluff, provide Whitehall, Arkansas with a different zip code designation and for related purposes. Floor is now open for discussion. Yes, sir.
I was going to ask that question that Alderman Eastley was asking in the meeting.
My question is, it's saying to restrict 71602 to the residents of Pine Bluff. There's a whole lot of 71602 residents that's not in Whitehall. There's a whole lot out in the county. Even if you give a Whitehall, if they get their own zip code, which is fine, which I don't have a problem with that. But what about the county residents of 71602?
Well, a lot of those county residents around Pine Bluff area were 71601 before the Whitehall city government helped change that. I was talking with Mr. Miller earlier about the boundaries, how that will affect the franchise fees. And this has to be affecting something, our cash flow into the city. I mean, it's a very serious thing, and if we don't fix it now, we're going to have major problems within the next 2 years. I mean, I know some of you all don't want to see it, but if the people in the city of Pine Bluff wake up and all of their properties annexed in the city of Whitehall, a lot of people are going to be upset. And I be in the Dalloway area quite a bit. I have people coming outside their houses showing me their bills, their utility bills with Whitehall, Arkansas on them. And if you look at all those different taxes and fees on there, it's got to be some money sipping through the cracks somewhere. Now, Mr. Miller, can you address that? I mean, it's a possibility, right?
Yes, let me clarify. When we talked outside the meeting, you asked about the franchise taxes and the impact of city boundaries. And yes, the city limits that are defined by annexations and are based on GIS coordinates, the actual city map. That does set the boundaries, and it was stated, I think, in one of the meetings that was held on the 71602 zip code, that zip codes have nothing to do with city boundaries. They're just based on a post office. It's a routing system for the mail. It was stated that the actual city boundaries, based on the city map, the city limits, that has been sent to the Arkansas Secretary of State's office, that is what is used by the utilities and the franchise to assign the city franchise tax. And we had that validated once by Al Skinner, the head of regional planning, validated that back in 2009. Larry Reynolds, the current head of regional planning, is in the process of validating that again, because it's very important that the Secretary of State's office has the correct city limits, which is a map, in GIS codes, but it has nothing to do with zip codes. Right. They're two different things.
But there's a possibility that some of the franchise fees could be going
No, not based on zip codes, but on city boundaries. If by some chance they had the incorrect city boundaries, yes, that's an issue.
Okay, that's what I'm discussing, the city boundaries. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was at that same meeting. Do you have anything documented, to argue your case?
Yes. Well, it's like you said, like the utility companies, the boundaries are really out of order. They haven't been revised in like 15 years, and that's why Whitehall is creeping over into Pine Bluff like that. If you're gonna have, what's the purpose of having boundaries around your house if you're gonna let your neighbor come in on your property? That's what your city boundaries are for, and that's what I'm dealing with, the city boundaries.
I think our city attorney, did you want to say something?
To address Alderman Easterly's concern, I think you can add the language on line 10, 20, and 24 that after Whitehall and other cities situated in Jefferson County who share the 7160 zip code, that may address that issue that you have. That may address your issue if you add that language to line 10, 20, and 24. And then it will include those other cities that you're talking about.
Would you repeat that, please?
Okay, if I were to read it, let's see here. Section 1, the Pine Bluff City Council requests the United States Postal Service to take immediate action to restrict the use of the 7160 zip code designation to residents of Pine Bluff and to allot the city of Whitehall and other cities situated in Jefferson County who currently share the 7160 zip code.
Would they come under Whitehall, or would they be associated with Pine Bluff?
I don't know how they're incorporated. They wouldn't be associated with Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff would have their own designation under 71602, and then those other cities, and I'm not sure which ones, what they are.
It's not other cities,
Cities,
county.
just people out in the county.
Okay, well
People
then,
out in the county are 71602, 71603, and 71601. And this is saying it restricts 71602 to Pine Bluff residents only. So we're asking the ones at 71602 in the county to go with a new zip code or what? That's the only question I'm asking about this.
I would think that they would need to go with another zip code, personally.
Yes, yes, sir. Alderman Stevens.
Mayor, let me say this. Now, some of us might look at it and say, well, we done beat this zip code thing to death. But there's still something here, and let me broaden it. I don't think the city government of Whitehall had anything to do with it per se, as to say we want to come in here and we want to take this and take that. But recently I had on Friday a gentleman that lives in Pine Bluff, was out on 6th Street. He tried to get high-speed internet with AT&T. The services are not provided in Whitehall, but they are in Pine Bluff. And he argued with them over, back and forth, trying to explain to them that I don't live in Whitehall. They said, yes, you do, because here's your address. When we typed in this address, it shows Whitehall. Now, that zip code has come all the way over to 6th Street, even over to 4th Street. Now, here's one thing that, and here's one thing that there's two other points that I want to point out here. Now, the post office was talking about they had to downsize. If Whitehall Post Office keeps coming in to service people here in Pine Bluff all the way down to 2nd Street, when they get ready to close the post office, which one you think they're going to close? They're going to close something here in Pine Bluff because they don't have enough people to serve, because that 71602 zip code has taken control over the territory. Now, here's the other point that we talked about, and when is that meeting with the sales tax people going to be here tomorrow? And they were talking about how illegal it is because you got a 3501, 3502, and 3503. which represents the local taxes. Now, I can look at a bill, utility bill, and I know whether or not if they charging the Whitehall taxes and that. Because the city tax is 1.625, and then Whitehall taxes, I think, 2%. But that's not hard to identify. But when a person comes in here and they say, well, the zip code not gonna make any difference because that business got their code set up in their computer, they ought to know. If they got the proper address, then that code will show up. But if you show in Whitehall address, that Pine Bluff City local taxes is not gonna show up, and I'm gonna be very argumentative with the State Department on it because I know better. And they not gonna come in here, I guarantee they not gonna come in here and tell us that, yeah, this is what's supposed to be. Yeah, it might be supposed to be that. But this zip code thing that Steve has been beating on, but here's the biggest thing that he has stumbled up on, and I think it's gonna have merit to it. When you talk about that, the boundary lines, when you talk about Parkway Drive, and the way those lines and things are drawn, what if some of those businesses should be in Pine Bluff rather than over on that side, based on the line? What if some of the tax dollars that's going to Whitehall ought to go to Dollarway, based on the drawings? So I don't want us to shoot him in the foot to say, well, you done beat that horse to death. There's some merit to this zip code thing. I might not agree with that the Whitehall had anything to do with it and accusing Whitehall government of trying to steal anything. I might not go that far, but I do think that it has some merit to it. And I think that we ought not to try to put it down until we understand the scope of it and where this thing is going.
I really wish that Alderman Mays had bought his map. He have it mapped that shows all of the 71602. All of the section of Dollarway and out at Allen Harbor and all of that. And it has all of the addresses. And everything on that map just about is 71602. You know, it's almost as if Pine Bluff don't really exist, because any address in that area, if you put it in your computer, it shows up Whitehall, Arkansas. And the gentleman that Alderman Steps referred to, and we've had numerous calls from people, but he said that he ordered a part, and when they put in the zip code, and I assume it made its own label. When he put it in, when they put it in the zip code, it made the label for whatever number 6th Street and Whitehall, Arkansas, 71602. Well, they tried to deliver it in Whitehall. Whitehall had no 6th Street, so they sent it back. And so he had to try to explain to them, and of course they kept telling him that it was, he was living in Whitehall the same as the internet people.
Alderman Holcomb.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, Alderman Steps, you're saying this is bigger than the census thing.
Well, the census thing, I'm not blaming the 71602 on our census. I think that the mayor had it right when she talked about 60 to 65% only the people that fill out the information, when we, and the range is like 80 to 85%. And I don't know how this is going to affect the census in 2020, but certainly that's something that the mayor and some of the others have agreed to work on.
You're saying it's dealing with taxes is what this is?
My portion of it is dealing with the taxes, and I think it has a direct bearing on it based on what the zip code is saying. I believe that.
But
Okay, just a second. Alderman Brown.
Thank you very much. Whether this is going to be about boundaries, tax, cable TV, internet, or the Census Bureau, I believe in the people. And the people says that when I get my mail, I wanted to say Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I don't live in Whitehall. And I believe as a resident and a taxpayer of Jefferson County and Pine Bluff in bold, that their address should say Pine Bluff, Arkansas. So whatever we get, whatever information that comes out of this, that's the one change I directly want for the people of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. To say that they live, their address says they live in Pine Bluff. And we may get more without investigation, but that's the most important one to me and the residents of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Thank you.
And also, Allen Harbor out there, you know what I'm talking about, that, which is in our ward. Now, when they get mail, it shows Whitehall, Arkansas. Greg Gusty discussed it, and he was really upset because Greg do love Pine Bluff. And he says that he does not want to get mail that says Whitehall, Arkansas. He wants Pine Bluff.
Just to facilitate this and to get this on through, I think we're all in support of this. It's just the wording. Do we want to try to change the wording?
Mr. Childress has a suggestion on the change of the wording.
If you want to put in line 20 after City of Whitehall, just insert "and affected county residents," a new zip code designation. That would address everyone in the county.
Would you repeat that?
On line 20, after the phrase "City of Whitehall," just insert the words "and affected county residents."
And affected?
Yes.
Everybody okay with that? You okay with that, Ms. Walker?
Okay.
The only other question I've got, it says the Pine Bluff City Council request, is who's going to take care of making sure this gets to the postal services? You changed it from the mayor to the city council, so.
One of us on the committee will.
Okay, so somebody's going to make, I just want to make sure we follow
Right,
through and
yeah.
don't get stuck
Yeah, we
somewhere.
do.
Okay.
Any
That's
other
it.
questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes our agenda tonight, Mayor.
Okay.
I would say AT&T does not provide high-speed DSL to Pine Bluff either.
Huh?
True.
AT&T does not provide high-speed internet DSL to all of Pine Bluff either.
Not all of Pine
Very
Bluff.
little.
You're correct.
Very little.
Okay, we have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
You have to get close to the office
Yeah.
or to one of their substations, and they hadn't put the others in yet.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, and it's been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.